The complete works of Swami Vivekananda Jnana Yoga, Chapter 15, The Real and the Apparent Man, Part 2. We have seen that it is the universal cosmic mind that splits itself into the Aksha and the Prana. And beyond mind, we have found the soul in us. In the universe, behind the universal mind, there is a soul that exists, and it is called God. In the individual, it is the soul of man. In this universe, in the cosmos, just as the universal mind becomes evolved into Aksh and Pran, even so, we may find that the universal soul itself becomes evolved as mind. Is it really so with the individual man? In this mind, the creator of his body, and his soul, the creator of his mind? That is to say, are his body, his mind, and his soul three different existences? Or they are three in one? Or again, they are different states of existences of the same unit being? We shall gradually try to find an answer to this question. The first step that we have now gained in this, here is this external body. Behind this external body are the organs, the mind, the intellect, and behind this is the soul. At the first step, we have found, as it were, that the soul is separate from the body, separate from the mind itself. Opinions in the religious world become divided at this point, and the departure is this. All those religious views which generally pass under the name of dualism hold that this soul is qualified, that it is of various qualities, that all feelings of enjoyment, pleasure, and pain really belong to the soul. The non-dualists deny that the soul has any such qualities. They say it is unqualified. Let me first take up the dualists and try to present to you their position with regard to the soul and its destiny. Next, the system that contradicts them. And lastly, let us try to find the harmony which non-dualism will bring to us. This soul of man, because it is separate from the mind and the body, because it is not composed of Aksha and Pran, must be immortal. Why? What do we mean by mortality? Decomposition. And that is only possible for things that are made as a result of composition. Anything that is made of two or three ingredients must be decomposed. That alone which is not the result of composition can never become decomposed and therefore can never die. It is immortal. It has been existing throughout eternity. It is uncreate. Every item of creation is simply a composition. No one ever saw creation come out of nothing. All that we know of creation is the combination of already existing things into near forms. That being so, this soul of man, being simple, must have been existing forever, and it will exist forever. When this body falls off, the soul lives on. According to the Vedantis, when this body dissolves, the vital forces of the man go back to his mind, and the mind becomes dissolved, as it were, into the pran, and that pran enters into the soul of man, and the soul of man comes out clothed, as it were, with what they call the fine body, the mental body, or the spiritual body, as you may like to call it. Is this body, in this body are the samskars of the man. What are the samskars? This mind is like a lake, and every thought is like a wave upon that lake. Just as in the lake waves rise and then fall down and disappear, so also these thought waves are continually rising in the mind stuff and then disappearing. But they do not disappear forever. They become finer and finer, but they are all there, ready to start up another time when called upon to do so. Memory is simply calling back into wave form some of these thoughts which have gone into the finer state of existence. Thus, everything that we have thought, every action that we have done is lodged in the mind. It is all there in fine form. And when a man dies, the sum total of these impressions is in the mind, which again works upon a little bit fine material as a medium. The soul, clothed as it were with these impressions and the fine body, passes out, and the destiny of the soul is guided by the resultant of all the different forces represented by the different impressions. According to us, there are three different goals for the soul. Those that are very spiritual when they die follow the solar rays and reach what is called the solar sphere, through which they reach what is called the lunar sphere, and through that they reach what is called the sphere of lightning, and there they meet with another soul who is already blessed, and he guides the newcomer forward to the highest fall spheres, which is called the Brahmalok, the sphere of Brahma. There these souls attain to omniscience and omnipotence, become almost as powerful as the all-knowing and the God himself, and they reside there forever, according to the dualists. Or according to the non-dualists, they become one with the universal at the end of the cycle. The next class of persons who have been doing good work with selfish motives are carried by the result of their good works, when they die, to what is called lunar sphere, where there are various heavens, and there they acquire fine bodies, the bodies of gods. They become gods and live there and enjoy the blessing of heaven for a long period. And after that period is finished, the old karma is again upon them, and so they fall back again to the earth. They come down through the spheres of air and clouds and all these various regions, and at last reach the earth through raindrops. There on the earth they attach themselves to some cereal, which is eventually eaten up by some man who is fit to supply them with material to make a new body. The last class, namely the wicked, when they die become ghosts or demons and live somewhere midway between the lunar sphere and this earth. Some try to disturb mankind, some are friendly, and after living there for some time, they also fall back to the earth and become animals. After living for some time in an animal body, they get released and come back and become men again, and thus get one more chance to work out their salvation. We see then that those who have nearly attained to perfection, in whom only very little of impurity remains, go to the Brahmalok through the rays of the sun, and those who are a middling sort of people, who did some good work here with the idea to go to heaven, go to the heavens in the lunar sphere and there obtain God bodies. But they have again to become men and so have one more chance to be perfect. Those that are very wicked become ghosts and demons, and then they have to become animals. After that they become men again and get another chance to perfect themselves. This earth is called the Karam Bhumi, the sphere of karma. Here alone man makes his good or bad karma. When a man wants to go to heaven and does good work for that purpose, he becomes as good and does not as such store up any bad karma. He just enjoys the effect of the good karma he did on earth, and when this good karma is exhausted, there come upon him the resultant force of all the evil karma he had previously stored up in life, and that brings him down again to this earth. In the same way, those that become ghosts and remain in that state do not give rise to fresh karma but suffer the evil results of their past misdeeds, and later on remain for a time in an animal body without causing any fresh karma. When that period is finished, they too become men again. The states of reward and punishment due to good and bad karmas are devoid of the force generating fresh karmas. They have only to be enjoyed or suffered. If there is an extraordinarily good or an extraordinarily evil karma, it bears fruit very quickly. For instance, if a man has been doing many evil things all his life, but does one good act, the result of that good act will immediately appear. But when that result has been gone through, all the evil acts must produce their results also. All men who do certain good and great acts, but the general tenor of whose lives have not been correct, will become gods, and after living for some time in godliness, god bodies, enjoying the power of gods, they will have again to become men. When the power of the good acts is thus finished, the old evil comes up to be worked out. Those who do extraordinarily evil acts have to be put on ghosts and devil bodies. And when the effect of those evil actions is exhausted, the little good action which remains associated with them makes them again become men. The way to Brahmalok, from which there is no more fall or return, is called Devayana. That is, the way to God. The way to heaven is known as Pitriyana. That is the way to the fathers. Man, therefore, according to the Vedanta philosophy, is the greatest being that is in the universe. And this world of work, the best place in it, because only herein is the greatest and the best chance for him to become perfect. Angels or gods, whatever you may call them, have all to become men if they want to become perfect. This is the great center, the wonderful poise, and the wonderful opportunity, this human life. We come next to the other aspect of philosophy. There are Buddhists who deny the whole theory of the soul that I have just now been propounding. What use is there, says the Buddhist, to assume something as a substratum, as the background of this body and mind? Why may we not allow thoughts to run on? Why admit to a third substance beyond this organism composed of mind and body, a third substance called the soul? What is its use? Is not this organism sufficient to explain itself? Why take anew a third something? These arguments are very powerful. This reasoning is very strong. So far as outside research goes, we see that this organism is a sufficient explanation of itself. At least many of us see it in that light. Why then need there be a soul as substratum, as something which is neither mind nor body, but stands as the background for both mind and body? Let there be only mind and body. Body is the name of a stream of matter continuously changing. Mind is the name of a stream of consciousness or thought continuously changing. What produces the apparent unity between these two? This unity does not really exist. Let us say, take for instance a lighted torch and whirl it rapidly before you. You will see a circle of fire. The circle does not really exist, but because the torch is continually moving, it leaves the appearance of a circle. So there is no unity in this life, it is a mass of matter continually rushing down, and the whole of this matter you may call one unity, but no more. So is mind, each thought is separate from every other thought. It is only the rushing current that leaves behind the illusion of unity. There is no need of a third substance. This universal phenomena of body and mind is all that really is. Do not posit something behind it. You will find that this Buddhist thought has been taken up by certain sects and schools in modern times, and all of them claim that it is new, their own invention. This has been the central idea of most of the Buddhist philosophies, that this world is in itself all sufficient, that you need not ask for any background at all. All that is in this sense universe. What is the use of thinking of something as a support to this universe? Everything is the aggregate of qualities. Why should there be a hypothetical substance in which they should inhere? The idea of substance comes from the rapid interchange of qualities, not from something unchangeable which exists behind them. We see how wonderful some of these arguments are, and they appeal easily to the ordinary experience of humanity. In fact, not one in a million can think of anything other than phenomena. To the vast majority of men, nature appears to be only a changing, whirling, combining, mingling mass of change. Few of us ever have a glimpse of the calm sea behind. For us, it is always lashed into waves. This universe appears to us only as a tossing mass of waves. Thus we find these two options. One is that there is something behind both body and mind, which is an unchangeable and immovable substance. And the other is that there is no such thing as immovability or unchangeability in the universe. It is all change and nothing but change. The solution of this difference comes in the next step of thought, namely the non-dualist. It is said that dualists are right in finding something behind all, as a background which does not change. We cannot conceive change without there being something unchangeable. We cannot conceive of anything that is changeable by knowing something which is less changeable. And this must also appear more changeable in comparison to something else which is less changeable, and so on and on, until we are bound to admit that there must be something which never changes at all. The whole of this manifestation must have been in a state of non-manifestation, calm and silent, being the balance of opposing forces, so as to say, when no force operated, because force acts when a disturbance of the equilibrium comes in. The universe is ever hurrying on to return to that state of equilibrium again. If we are certain of any fact whatsoever, we are certain of this. When the dualists claim that there is a something which does not change, they are perfectly right, but their analysis that it is an underlying something which is neither the body nor the mind, or something separate from both, is wrong. So far as the Buddhists say that the whole of universe is a mass of change, they are perfectly right. So long as I am separate from the universe, so long as I stand back and look at something before me, so long as there are two things, the looker on and the thing looked upon, it will always appear that the universe is one of change, continuously changing all the time. But the reality is that there is both change and changelessness in the universe. It is not that the soul and the mind and the body are three separate existences. For this organism made of these three is really one. It is the same thing which appears as the body, as the mind, and as the thing beyond the mind and the body, but it is not at the same time all these. He who sees the body does not see the mind even. He who sees the mind does not see what he calls the soul. And he who sees the soul, for him the body and the mind have vanished. He who only sees the motion never sees absolute calm. And he who sees absolute calm, for him motion has vanished. A rope is taken for a snake. He who sees the rope as a snake, for him the rope has vanished. And when the delusion ceases, he looks at the rope, the snake has vanished.